Hey everybody, this is Alex MTG Magic is Fun coming at you with a quick deck tech on good old Oswald Fiddlebender. Anybody doesn't know, he's 1 and a white legendary creature. He has magical tinkering. Tap white, tap him, sack an artifact, search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put it on the battlefield. Then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery, because, if you could do it at instant speed, it would be ridiculous. Now, let's start with the lands. We have Ancient Den, obviously an artifact land. We have the Arid Mesa, so you can fetch some stuff up. Buried Ruin gets back an artifact. Command Beacon, put your commander in your hand. Crystal Vein, you can sack it for 2. Darksteel Citadel, artifact. Eganjo Castle, this is an odd one I didn't know a lot about. Taps for white, also tap white, tap it. Prevent next 2 damage that would be dealt to a target legendary creature this turn. So, kind of helps Oswald. Flooded Strand, Gemstone Caverns, Glacial Chasm. So, when you don't want to die, but, you're going to. Glimmer Void, Inventor's Fair, Marsh Flats, Mishra's Workshop, which we'll laugh about that because this is the online version of the deck, so Mishra's Workshop is a real thing. Now, if I was playing paper, I don't have a Mishra's Workshop because they're expensive. But playing online, it's fun to make it legit. Now we have some Plains, a Spire of Industry, and a Windswept Heath. So only 21 lands in the deck, because we played a decent amount of 0-drop artifacts that make mana. Starting with Chrome Mox, we have a Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Mox Amber, Mox Diamond, Mox Opal. So there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana makers. And only one of them, Jeweled Lotus will get your commander out, but you know what? Turn 1, Oswald, turn 2, do something, seems fine. We have Tormod's Crypt to deal with some graveyard, and the Welding Jar if we need to regenerate an artifact. 1-drops, Curse of Silence. It says it's just a 1-drop. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card. Whoops. Probably I'm reading the wrong card. Curse of Silence, once again. As Curse of Silence enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spell with chosen name, enchant a player cast, costs 2 more to cast. When the player does finally cast that spell, you may sacrifice it and draw a card. So, seems like it'd be fine to tap a white and name your opponent's commander. It costs 2 more to cast right off the bat. Seems okay. CEDH, you basically want to stop your opponent from doing anything. And of course, we have Enlightened Tutor. Go Fragmentize to destroy an artifact or enchantment of your opponents that have with commander mana cost 4 or less. Giver of Ruins to make Oswald hard to kill. Mana Tithe, because nobody expects the Mana Tithe. The greatest 1-drop counterspell. Because guess what? Nobody expects it. They don't think it's coming. When it does, it's ridiculous. Then we have probably the second best removal spell in white, Path to Exile. Then we have Silence, so we can shut down our opponent for turn. And then we probably have the best 1-drop removal spell, Swords of Plowshares. Fall Blind Altar of the Brood, which says whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills a card. So that's fun. Codex Shredder, you can mill the top card of anyone's library, or sack it and return a card from your graveyard to your hand. Elixir of Immortality, Expedition Map, Mana Vault, Manifold Key, Relic of Progenitus, since it's Divine Top, Soul Ring, Voltaic Key. So Voltaic Key and Manifold Key both untap target artifacts. Manifold Key also can target a creature so it can't be blocked this turn. Obviously, Relic of Progenitus deals with graveyards. Divine Top is, awesome. Pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of the library, put them back in any order. Tap, draw a card, put that Divine Top goes on top. Seems fine. It's part of one of the many combos in the deck. And then, of course, Soul Ring. Next up, 2-drops, we have Disenchant. Again, sometimes you have to kill an artifact or enchantment. Dranth Magistrate, which is very impressive. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. Seems ridiculous. It means you can't cast your commander from the command zone. Gross. Aethersworn Canonist says you can only play non-artifact spells. So 1 non-artifact spell, and after that you have to cast artifacts. Seems good. Grand Abolisher. Can't cast spells on your turn, which is nice too, because then you're basically playing on your turn, which is good. Alter Dementia. Sack creature, target player mills cards equal to target plus creature's power. Arcane Signet, Damping Sphere, Grim Monolith, Illusionist Bracers, which doubles up activated abilities for Oswald. Lesser Masticore, this is an odd one. Costs additional cost to spells, discard a card. You can pay 4, Lesser Masticore deals 1 damage to target creature. It's a 2/2 with Persist. The idea is it's part of a combo, which I'll explain here in a minute. Lightning Greaves, Liquid Metal Coating, Liquid Metal Torque, so make things into artifacts and then sack them. Mage-Right Stone, which untaps creatures. Metallic Mimic, which is part of the Lesser Masticore combo. As enters battlefield, you choose creature type. You're going to choose Masticore. What it does is each other creature you control with the chosen type enters the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter. So Masticore comes in as a 3/3 initially, then you find a way to sack it, then it persists back as a 2/2, because the +1/+1 counter cancels out the -1/-1 counter. So you can sack it as many times as you want. So you can use it with Alter Dementia, mill out your opponent, or you can use it with another card that's coming up. Then we have the Mycosynth Wellspring, which kind of helps you get a land if you need one. And you can sack it for stuff. Fantastic. So you cast it, you go get a land out of your battlefield, base land, put it, let's see here, is it into your hand? Yes, into your hand. And so when it enters the battlefield, get a base land. When it leaves the battlefield, get a base land. And you're gonna sag it with Oswald to turn into a 3-drop. Seems fine. Mirror Retriever gets an artifact back from the graveyard. Sorcerer's Spyglass, Thorn of Amethyst, just another little stacks piece. Torpor Orb, and Winter Orb. And you're gonna see most people are gonna look and say Winter Orb is super impressive. Well, it's CEDH. I think that's the point. Next up, 3 drops. We got Generous Gift. So when you get rid of pesky permanents, Aura of Silence, when you're wanting to put some more stacks on your people, Basalt Monolith, the Blasting Station. This is where Lesser Masticore comes in. You can sack Lesser Masticore to the Blasting Station, deal damage to your target, and then it'll persist back. If you have Metallic Mimic out, it persists back, doesn't get a -1 over counter. You untap Blasting Station, and then you just over and over and over and over and make it until your opponent's dead. The best part is, if you have Masticore and Metallic Mimic out, with Oswald, you can sack Masticore to get Blasting Station, and then Masticore persists back, and then you just win the game unless they have something to stop you. Pretty good. Then we have Cloud Key, makes stuff cost 1 less, you choose. Crucible Worlds, obviously so we can get lands back in the graveyard. Foundry Inspector makes artifacts cost 1 less. Junk Diver gets you an artifact back in the graveyard. Metalworker says you can tap it, reveal a number of artifacts in your hand, and add 2 colors for each card revealed this way. Rings of Brighthearth, another way to double up on Oswald's activated ability. You'll activate it, you'll pay 2, you'll get a second copy of that activation. Now, Rings of Brighthearth and Basalt Monolith makes infinite colorless mana. So you could do Rings, Basalt Monolith, and then, another card here coming up. We'll talk about it in a second. Sculpting Seals, copies an artifact. Symbol's Anvil. It has imprint. Whenever a Symbol's Anvil enters the battlefield, you can choose a non-land card from your hand. Spells you cast that share a card type with the exiled card cost 2 less to cast. So with any luck, you can exile a artifact creature, and then all your creatures and all your artifacts cost 2 less to cast, which seems really good. 1,000-Year Elixir untaps creatures. It also gives them basically their activated abilities like they have haste, which is cool. Tooth of Ramos. 3-drop artifact. You can tap it to add white, or you can sack it to add white. So, pay 3, add a white, sack it, add another white. Seems good. Trinisphere. A 3-drop, as long as Trinisphere is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 now costs 3. Not bad. Workshop Assistant, also another card, just get you back a artifact from the graveyard. We play Armageddon. And like we said, we have a small number of lands in this deck. We have lots of mana rocks. So with any luck, we get mana rocks out, we can cast Armageddon, and then we just basically go from there. Wrath of God, in case you gotta wipe the board. Aetherflux Reservoir, which is great. It's part of a combo with Mystic Forge and Sensitive Divine Top. So you have Mystic Forge out, Divine Top out, and you get a cost reducer. So Foundry Inspector, Cloud Key, or Semblance Anvil. You will keep casting spells off the top of your library. Well, you'll keep putting Sensitive Divine Top back on top of your library, cast it for free with Mystic Forge out, just over and over again, to hit Reservoir, and then you'll cast Reservoir, and then you'll cast Top a few more times, and then you gain enough life to kill your opponents. Pay 50 life, do 50 damage to any target. Seems good. The life gain from Reservoir also says whenever you cast a spell, you gain a life for each spell you've cast this turn. So if I cast 25 spells, then I cast Reservoir, it's my number 26, then the next spell I cast, which would be Divine Top, will gain me 27 life. Pretty good. Then we have Clock of Omens. It says tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact. Which this becomes great whenever, say, you have Oswald out and like Liquid Metal Torque or Liquid Metal Coating. Make Oswald an artifact and then tap 2 things to untap him. Then use him again. Not bad. George Familiar is a 4-drop that says historic spells cost a lot less to cast. Artifacts are historic spells. Cart Clan Ironworks, second artifact added 2, colorless. Lithiform Engine, it says 2 and tap, copy target activated or triggered ability. So Oswald, 3 and tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell, also good. And 4 and tap and copy target permanent spell you control. So you could put a permanent onto the stack and then pay 4 and tap it and copy it. Lodestone Golems, 4-drop. He says non-artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. So it slows you down a little bit, but it definitely slows your opponent down. Just another stack piece. Mystic Forge. You can leave the top card of your library anytime. You may cast artifact spells and color spells on top of your library, and then you can tap, pay 1, exile the top card of your library if you need to get it off the top. Then you have Prototype Portal. Imprint. When Prototype Portal enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact card from your hand. You pay X and tap, create a token that's a copy of the exiled card. X is the mana value of that card. What I did was the other day, which was fun, is I imprinted an Ancient Den, which is an artifact land. And every turn, for 0, I would tap Prototype Portal and just make another Ancient Den. So basically, I could just make white mana every turn. For just, And a 4-drop sounds like a lot, but by the time you get cost reducers and stuff out, you're probably not paying 4. Uba Mask. And if you are paying 4, you have a Mana Vault and Soul Ring and blah, 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 blah. Next up's the Uba Mask. If a player would draw a card, that player exiles that card face up instead. Each player may play lands and cast spells from cards among them exiled Uba Mask. This is where Drannith Magistrate comes in. You play Magistrate, you play Uba Mask. Players can't cast anything from their hand, so the card never goes to their hand. If they draw a card, it never goes to their hand, it goes into exile. So they just can't cast. It's kind of a soft lock. They can't cast any more spells. Next up, the 5-drop spot is Ugin's Nexus. It says if a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips a turn instead. If Ugin's Nexus we put into the graveyard from the battlefield, instead exile it and take an extra turn for this one. So Oswald Fiddlebender. So we sack a 4-drop, turn it into an Ugin's Nexus, then we'll sack the Ugin's Nexus, we'll turn into a extra turn, and if we sack the Ugin's Nexus, we're either going to go get one of these 6-drops, which are Godfrey Statue, which says, spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life, or Gonti's Aetherheart. Whenever Gonti's Aetherheart or other artifact you control, whenever Aetherheart or other artifact you control enters the battlefield under control, you get 2 energy counters. Pay 8 energy, exile Gonti's Aetherheart, take an extra turn. So, it's very possible you could go Ugin's Nexus extra turn, then go get the Aetherheart. So you could possibly take 3 turns in a row. Usually if that's happening, I think you're winning the game. And last but not least, the XX spell, the good old Walking Ballista, which says there's battlefield X +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 4, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Remove a +1/+1 counter. It deals 1 damage to any target. So if we have Salt Monolith, along with Rings of Brighthearth, you can make infinite colorless mana, make a giant ballista, kill your opponent. Seems good. Now remember, playing this in paper is much simpler because you You explain a loop to your opponent, typically it's fine. Online, the click-throughs can be ridiculous. Hopefully your opponent will end up just scooping because they see that you have it. But some people, just refuse, and that's fine. But as you can see, multiple combos. Like I said, Divine Top with a cost reducer, Misty Forge into Aetherflux Reservoir is really good. Rings with Basalt Monolith into Ballista. You have Masticore with Mimic and Blasting Station or Alter Dementia. You also have the Uva Mask and Magistrate, Soft Lock. What else? There's another one in here somewhere. There's just several ways. I mean, there's a lot you can do with this deck. It's going to do a lot of stuff. On top of the fact that you're playing a bunch of stacks pieces, so you can just shut your opponent down quick if you want to, hopefully. So that is a deck tech for Oswald Fiddlebender. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. It's a cool deck. It's a lot of fun. And again, this is Alex. MTG Magic is fun. And hope you enjoyed this video. And we play Magic because it's fun. Don't forget. And as always, get wrecked, nerds.